Most people book a cruise cabin by staring at the room, the bed, the balcony, the square footage. Maybe that little sofa nobody actually sits on. Big mistake. Because your cabin isn't floating by itself, it's attached to a giant moving hotel with elevators, crew doors, pool decks, laundry rooms, late-night footsteps, and early morning carts. So today, we're not just picking a room, we're picking the version of the cruise you'll actually live in after the brochure disappears. Start with the deck plan, not the glamour shot. Because the photo shows you the bed, the towels, and the balcony chair. The deck plan tells you what your vacation might sound like. Before you choose any stateroom, do one simple thing. Check what is directly above it, directly below it, and directly across from it. If there are other cabins above and below you, that's usually a good sign. It means you're surrounded by people doing roughly the same thing you are doing. Sleeping, showering, changing clothes, arguing gently about where the sunscreen went. That's normal cruise noise. But if your cabin sits under a pool deck, a gym, a nightclub, a buffet, or a theater, now you're gambling with your sleep. Cruise ships have their own strange soundtrack. Under the pool deck, you may hear deck chairs being dragged before breakfast. Under the gym, you may hear weights hit the floor from someone who believes vacation starts with aggressive lunges. Near a theater or lounge, you may get music, crowd noise, or late-night traffic right when you finally want the room to feel peaceful. None of this means those cabins are always terrible. But if you're a light sleeper, that great deal can become very personal by night 2. The same idea applies to motion. If you already know you get seasick, don't chase the highest deck, just because it feels more premium. Higher cabins and rooms far forward or far aft can feel more movement when the ship hits rough water. A safer bet is lower and closer to the middle of the ship. Midship may not sound exciting, but it's often where your stomach sends you a thank you note. Then there are obstructed view cabins. These can be smart, but only if you know what you're buying. Sometimes obstructed means a small piece of metal in the corner. Other times, it means you open the curtain and meet a lifeboat having its own vacation outside your window. So if the price looks surprisingly good, pause and search the exact cabin number online. Passenger photos can be more honest than the booking page. Also, watch the spaces across the hallway. Laundry rooms, crew service doors, utility areas, and high-traffic elevator zones may not look dramatic on a map. But doors open, carts roll, people talk in hallways like sound doesn't exist after 10 p.m. So the rule is simple. Don't book a cabin until you understand the little ecosystem around it. That's how you avoid the room that looks perfect in a photo, then spends the whole cruise reminding you what was missing from the photo. And once you know which rooms to avoid, the next move gets more interesting, because sometimes the cabin you want is too expensive at first, but not impossible to get. Sometimes the cabin you want is too expensive when you first book. That doesn't mean it is gone forever. A few weeks before sailing, the cruise line may invite you to bid for an upgrade. Royal Caribbean calls it Royal Up. Other lines have their own version. You choose how much extra you are willing to pay, and if they accept, you move into a higher category. Sounds great. Just remember, you're usually bidding on the category, not the exact room. So yes, you might go from ocean view to balcony, but you may not get the balcony location you would have chosen yourself. That balcony upgrade may sound amazing until it lands right under the buffet, beside an elevator bank, or at the very front of the ship where every wave introduces itself personally. And once that bid is accepted, don't assume you can simply undo it because the location makes you nervous. That's why you should never bid more than you would be happy paying for a mystery cabin. If the upgrade lands in a strange spot, you still bought it. Now, guarantee cabins are different. A GTY cabin means you pick the minimum category you can accept, and the cruise line assigns the room later. The upside is price. GTY rates can be cheaper, and sometimes you may even get bumped into a better category if inventory shifts. The downside is control. You might get a great surprise, or you might get the room everyone else quietly avoided. So use this rule. Bid when you are willing to pay extra for a chance at better. Book GTY only when you are truly okay with any cabin in that category, because upgrade doesn't always mean perfect, and guarantee does not mean guaranteed greatness. The cabin game doesn't end after you book. The mistake is thinking your cabin choice is finished the day you reserve it. It isn't. Around final payment, the ship can quietly reshuffle. That's usually about 90 to 120 days before sailing, depending on the cruise line. Why does it matter? Because this is when passengers have to pay the rest of their cruise balance. Some forget, some change plans. Some see the final total and decide 7 nights of unlimited soft serve can wait. When those bookings drop off, cabins can return to inventory, better locations, lower prices, sometimes both. So during that final payment window, check your cruise again. Look at the current price for your category. Look at which cabins are available now. If you use a travel agent, ask them to recheck the system for you. This isn't about calling the cruise line and trying to bargain like you're buying a couch. It's about spotting changes. If your same category is now cheaper, you may be able to request a price adjustment, onboard credit, or a better cabin in the same category, depending on the cruise line's rules and how you booked. And if a better room opens up at the same price, ask what options are available. No drama, no couch bargaining energy. Just, are there any better cabins open in my category now? Cruise agents can usually do more with a clear question than with someone who sounds like they're negotiating a hostage release over a balcony cabin. The key is timing. If you book and never look again, you may miss the moment when the ship reshuffles. So put the final payment date on your calendar, because sometimes the smartest cabin upgrade isn't a bid. It's catching the room everyone else gave back. The first 10 minutes in your cabin can save you 3 bad nights. Once you board, don't treat your cabin like a hotel room where you toss the suitcase on the bed and disappear until dinner. Do a quick systems check first. Walk in, pause for a minute, listen. Is there a strange mechanical hum? Does the bathroom smell off? Is the air conditioning working? Is something leaking, rattling, or vibrating in a way that feels less cruise ship charm and more this wall is trying to communicate? If everything is fine, great. Unpack, celebrate, pretend you're organized for once. But if there's a real maintenance issue, report it right away. Cruise problems are usually easier to fix before the ship has fully settled into the week. The first few hours of embarkation day matter because guest services still have the best chance of helping you before the ship turns into full vacation chaos. And yes, even if the cruise says it's sold out, there may still be a tiny number of cabins held back for operational issues. Not vacation upgrades, problem-solving rooms. So, if your cabin has a real issue, go to guest services calmly and explain the specific problem. Don't walk up like you're suing the ocean. Give them the details they can actually act on. The room has a strong sewage smell. The AC isn't cooling. There's a loud vibration that doesn't stop. The noise is coming from behind this wall. That kind of detail helps. If they can fix it, they may send maintenance. If they cannot fix it quickly and a backup cabin is available, they may move you. But timing matters. If you wait until midnight, after you've unpacked every drawer like you're moving in permanently, your options shrink fast. So check early, report the actual issue clearly, and stay polite enough that the person behind the desk wants to help you, not survive you. Before you book the cruise line's price, check whether someone else is holding a better version of the same sailing. Not a sketchy deal, not a my cousin knows a guy situation. A real booking option, called a group lock. Large travel agencies sometimes reserve a batch of cabins early, and those cabins may come with better pricing, onboard credit, prepaid gratuities, or extra perks attached. That doesn't mean the cruise line's website is bad, it just means it may not be the only place worth checking. A lot of people book directly because it feels safer. Official website, official price, an official little button that says book now, like it knows what's best for your family. And sometimes, booking directly is perfectly fine. You may prefer controlling everything yourself, and sometimes the direct price really is the same. But with cruises, compare before you click. And no, booking through a group block doesn't mean you have to travel with a group wearing matching t-shirts that say Caribbean Crew 2026. You may still book your own cabin, your own trip, your own vacation. The difference is what comes with it. Sometimes the cabin itself is not cheaper. The extras are where the math changes. One option may look cheaper up front, while another includes enough onboard credit to cover drinks, specialty dining, Wi-Fi, or that one gift shop purchase you pretend is for someone back home. So check the cruise line's website, then ask a reputable cruise-focused travel agent if they have group space or extra perks on that sailing. You aren't begging for a secret deal. You're checking another shelf in the same store. Just make sure you understand the rules before you hand over money. Ask about cancellation terms, final payment date, cabin assignment, price adjustment policy, and whether the agency charges service fees. A good agent can be useful. A bad one can turn a simple booking into an email scavenger hunt. So choose carefully. The point isn't that travel agents are always better. The point is that the cruise line's website isn't always the only door into the ship. Sometimes the better cabin move is simply comparing the door before you walk through it. The cabin usually feels fine on day 1. By day 2, it starts shrinking. 2 people unpack. 1 toiletry bag explodes on the counter. 3 hats appear from nowhere. Before long, the room feels like it was designed by someone who hates elbows. So, bring 2 small tools that solve a lot of cabin problems. First, strong magnetic hooks. Most cruise cabin walls and doors are metal, even if they look like wood or painted panels. That means a good magnetic hook can turn almost any wall into storage. Hang hats, hang jackets, hang lanyards, hang the daily schedule so it doesn't vanish under sunglasses, receipts, and someone's half-eaten cookie from the buffet. This sounds tiny, but on a cruise, vertical space is everything. The less stuff sitting on the desk, the calmer the room feels. The second tool is a non-surge outlet extender, and that non-surge part matters. Cruise cabins often have very few outlets, and everyone shows up with phones, watches, tablets, cameras, battery packs, and at least one device nobody remembers packing. A simple non-surge outlet extender can help, but a regular surge-protected power strip is a different story. Those are usually banned because they can create safety issues with the ship's electrical system. If security finds one in your bag, they may hold it until the end of the cruise. So don't grab the random power strip from your home office and hope for the best. Buy one clearly labeled for cruise use with no surge protection. A few extra outlets can make the cabin easier. The wrong strip can make your first interaction with ship security very awkward. And nobody wants to start vacation by having a power strip confiscated like it tried to smuggle itself on board. Your cabin shower may not be the problem. Your timing may be, cruise ship showers are usually better than people expect. Small, yes. Sometimes so small you accidentally elbow the wall and apologize to it. But the bigger issue is timing. Late afternoon is when half the ship has the same idea. People come back from port, the pool, or excursions, and everybody wants to shower before dinner. That's when water pressure may feel weaker and hot water may take longer to show up. It doesn't mean your cabin is broken. It may just mean half the ship is trying to become presentable before the 7:30 dinner seating. The fix is simple. Move your shower window. Shower a little earlier before the rush or later after the dinner crowd has cleared. That small timing shift can mean better water pressure, hotter water, and less standing there questioning your life choices in a tiny bathroom. Cruise cabins reward people who work around the rhythm of the ship. If your cruise bed feels weird, you aren't imagining it. That king bed in your cabin may actually be 2 twins pushed together. Most of the time, that's fine. The steward locks them in place, adds the bedding, and it feels like one larger bed. But sometimes, the illusion fails. You feel the gap. One side sits slightly higher, or the mattress has that special cruise ship firmness that makes your shoulder file a formal complaint by morning. And this is where a lot of passengers make the wrong move. They treat the bed like a fixed part of the ship, as if it came welded to the floor. It didn't. Ask your stateroom steward. This isn't the same as marching down to guest services with a complaint. It's a normal cabin comfort request. You're not reporting a broken room. you're asking them to adjust the setup so you can actually sleep, they can usually tighten the connection, remake the bed, adjust the setup, add extra padding, or bring a mattress topper if one is available. That small request can change how you sleep for the rest of the cruise. So if the bed feels wrong on night 1, mention it the next morning. Not on night 4, after you've already slept like a folded lawn chair for half the trip. A cruise cabin is small enough already. Your bed shouldn't be the thing you have to negotiate with every night. The cabin TV can save you from one of the worst places on the ship, the guest services line. Most people ignore it because they think, I'm on a cruise. I didn't come here to watch television. Fair. But on many ships, that screen is less like a TV and more like a tiny command center you forgot to use. Before you walk down to guest services and join a line of people holding receipts with emotional damage, check the TV first. You may be able to review your onboard account, see your current charges, check restaurant reservations, browse showtimes, or confirm the daily schedule. That matters because small charges can pile up fast on a cruise, drinks, specialty coffee, Wi-Fi, or one photo package you swore you wouldn't buy until you saw yourself looking weirdly good next to a fake sunset backdrop. If you check your account every day, you can catch mistakes early instead of discovering them on the final morning when half the ship is already lined up to argue about minibar charges. The TV can also show ship information, weather updates, and sometimes a live camera from the front of the ship. That bridge cam is surprisingly useful. You can wake up, turn it on, and see whether you're pulling into port, still at sea, or about to walk outside into weather that will humble your outfit choices. So, use the TV as a tool, not for binge watching. For staying one step ahead without standing in another line, because on a cruise, the best line is the one you never joined. The cheapest cabin upgrade on a cruise isn't always a bigger room. Sometimes it's a system, because the moment everyone starts changing clothes, charging devices, grabbing sunscreen, and dropping receipts on every flat surface, the room can turn on you fast. That's why the smartest move is not simply unpacking, it's assigning jobs to different parts of the cabin. Pick one small drop zone near the door for the things you grab every time you leave. Key cards, sunglasses, lanyards, sunscreen, and the daily schedule. Pick one bathroom zone for toiletries, medicine, hair products, and anything that leaks if it feels emotionally unstable. Then, keep the desk for things you actually use while sitting down. Not every bottle, cable, and souvenir magnet you own. An over-the-door organizer can help here, but think of it as a sorting station, not decoration. Use the pockets for small items that usually vanish. Lip balm, bandages, chargers, seasick meds, hair ties, and sunscreen. Hang it where it stays out of the way. If the bathroom door setup is annoying, move it somewhere easier. The goal is simple. Every small thing needs a home, because a cabin does not feel tiny when it is small. It feels tiny when you have to search for toothpaste like it entered witness protection. So there you have it. Cruise cabin tricks that can save your sleep, your space, and maybe your whole vacation mood. The best cabin isn't always the biggest cabin. It's the one that lets you sleep, move, charge your phone, find your sunscreen, and actually enjoy the cruise you paid for. Because on a cruise, the wrong cabin doesn't ruin the ship. It ruins your version of the ship. Now I want to hear from you. Would you rather take an inside cabin in a quiet midship location, or a balcony cabin under the pool deck if the price was tempting? Drop your answer in the comments. And if this helped, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone booking their first cruise. They'll thank you after night 1.